Hello, my name is Amanda Frick, and my lesson presentation is based off of the 4 seasons. This lesson focuses on the first grade. The subject is English Language Arts. The standard is with guidance and support from adults, recall information from experiences or gather information from provided sources to answer a question. The instructional behavior objectives are learners will label the 4 seasons, learners will select proper clothing for each season, and learners will say examples of activities that take place during each season. For the instructional procedures, first, the introduction. The time allotted for the introduction is 10 minutes, and the grouping is the entire class. The book, The Circle of Seasons by Gerda Muller, will be read by the teacher while the students sit in front of the teacher in a semicircle on the floor. The teacher will read the book aloud, and throughout the book, she will ask questions about the text and engage the students in continuous conversations in regards to the book. Next is the first activity. The time allotted for this activity is 10 minutes, and the grouping is individual. For this activity, the 4 seasons worksheet will be passed out to each student. Each student will then match the correct picture of the season to the corresponding name. Here I have the 4 seasons worksheet that will be used for activity 1. As you can see, on this side of the worksheet lists the 4 different seasons, and on the other side of the worksheet has a picture for each season. The students who have this form of the assignment will be expected to draw a line from the season to the corresponding picture. So for summer, you would go to this picture, for fall, to this picture, etc. After the 4 seasons worksheet comes activity 2. The time allotted for this is 20 minutes, and the grouping is small group. The title of this activity is Dressing for the Seasons. The class will split into groups of 4. Each group will be sent to a board with a person on it who is made out of felt, and the person is surrounded with different clothing options. The teacher will give the students a season, and the groups must dress the person according to the given season. Here's the board for the second activity. This activity is called Dressing for the Seasons. The class will be divided into groups of 4, and each group will go to their own board. In the center of the board is a felt cutout of a person. Everyone will probably start by dressing the person in a pair of pants and a shirt, and then the teacher will direct the students to dress the person for a certain season. So say the teacher says, dress your person for spring. The students will grab a raincoat to put on their person, a rain hat, and rain boots. There's clothes for all the other seasons as well, and so every time the teacher calls a new season, the students will undress the person and start over. The third activity has a time allotted of 15 minutes, and the grouping is the entire class. The title of this activity is Activities for Each Season. The class will again gather in a semicircle together on the floor in front of the teacher, and everyone will brainstorm activities that people do during each season. The teacher will record the children's ideas on a chart that the entire class will be able to see. Here's the board for the third activity. For this activity, the students will suggest ideas of activities for each season that the teacher will then write or draw on the board. For this board, it is divided into 4 different sections labeled fall, winter, spring, and summer. Some of the ideas that I've already written on this board as an example. For fall would be rake leaves or go to the pumpkin patch. For winter would be sled or make a snow angel. For spring, plant flowers or jump in puddles. And for summer, to swim or to go to the park. Finally, the closure. The time for the closure expected is 10 minutes, and the grouping is the entire class. The students will spread out into a full circle on the floor, and the teacher will select students at random to share their favorite season with the class and explain why this is their favorite season. The materials that will be needed for this lesson plan are the book The Circle of Seasons by Gerda Muller, a digital text of this book for students who may need it, the Four Seasons worksheet, one for each student, and then there will be two other forms of this worksheet, one that has larger font and pictures and a word bank of the season, and the other one, the teacher will pull out students individually and show them pictures of the season. So there will be individual pictures of each season that the teacher will need, and then a sheet that is set in front of them that lists summer, fall, winter, and spring. And the worksheet will be done in an oral format between the teacher and the student. Enough boards for the class to be divided into groups of 4. Each of the boards has an unclothed cutout person and a pile of clothing options to put on the person in order to dress him or her according to each season, and then a large poster board divided into 4 sections to record the activity ideas for each season's on, and then a marker for writing on the poster board, and finally an exercise ball or stimulating seat cushion and a stress ball for one of the students in the class. The first hands-on accommodation that I chose was kinesthetic activity, which came from the classroom text cart in 2010. This specific accommodation will be used for Trina. Trina has constant struggles with attention difficulties. This lesson was designed to incorporate kinesthetic activity to help Trina focus and to be successful throughout the lesson. You can see in the entire lesson that kinesthetic activity is used. From transferring between groups for different activities, Trina will be able to get the wiggles out, and she is given either a stimulating seat cushion or an exercise ball from the beginning of the activity till the end in order to help her focus, and then for the closure she will be given a stress ball to use to help focus her during that time as well. The second hands-on accommodation that I chose was using pictures as illustrations from Carter, Prater, and Deitch's text. This specific accommodation will be used for Bianca. Bianca struggles with reading, especially decoding and word analysis. Throughout the entirety of the lesson, there is focus on using pictures as illustrations. The book, dressing the person for the season, and writing down or drawing ideas of the activities for each season on the board all help Bianca with development of her reading skills. For the evaluation, we start with Activity 1. The learning objective is that learners will label the 4 seasons. The evaluation for this learning objective will come directly from the 4 seasons worksheet. Worksheets or other varied forms that I talked about for the assignment will be corrected and graded for accuracy to determine each student's knowledge of the identification of the seasons. For the second activity, the learning objective was learners will select proper clothing for each season. The evaluation will come from the small group evaluation sheet. This evaluation sheet has 3 questions. Each student's name is listed on the left-hand side, and a column to check yes or no for each student is listed below each question. Activity 2, the learning objective is learners will select proper clothing for each season. The evaluation will come from the small group evaluation sheet. This evaluation sheet has 3 questions. Each student name is listed on the left-hand side, and a column to check yes or no for each student is listed below each question. Here's the evaluation form for the second activity. For this, on this side of the form, the students' names are listed, followed by 3 boxes with questions. The first question is, did the student choose proper clothing according to the given season? The second is, did the student fully dress the cutout person according to the season? Were all the available items used? And the third question is, was the student able to reason why he or she chose to the clothes that they did? Under each question, the teacher is able to check the box for yes or for no, and that is how the evaluation is done for the dressing for the season's activity. Finally, for Activity 3, the learning objective is learners will say examples of activities that take place during each season. The evaluation for this activity will be done through participation. The teacher, with the use of a checklist, will keep track of the students that suggest correct ideas of activities that take place during each season. Students have a chance to earn a check during the third activity or the closing. Here's the evaluation for the third activity, but it can also be used for the closing. On this side of the chart lists the students' names, and up here is a box with the question that says, do the students choose proper activities according to the given season? During this activity and the closing, the teacher can mark down yes or no for each student. That wraps it up for the 4 seasons lesson plan.